Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Eldridge Bell, and welcome back to another edition of Let It Rip. Today, we have to talk about how the Houston Rockets might be done, literally done. Dwight Howard, huge injury. If he can't go, this series is over in 4 or 5. I just don't see how the Houston Rockets can win. Obviously, I thought Dwight Howard was the one matchup that the Houston Rockets had to exploit against the Golden State Warriors. I thought he could really dominate David Lee and Andrew Bogut down low and get them in foul trouble and wear them down throughout the series, or to force them to rotate players on Dwight Howard and open things up for James Harden and Trevor Ariza and Jason Terry. Without him, all that's out the window. All that's out the window. It makes the defensive job for uh, the Warriors easier, especially on James Harden, because if you saw the game one, yes, James Harden had made a lot of shots, but he made a lot of contested shots. And kudos to him; he's a great player. But pretty soon, those contested shots, aren't going to be falling. So somebody else has to step up because they were able to easier to key on James Harden. He wasn't getting open looks. And I feel that Dwight Howard allows James Harden to roam free and have not have a guy in his back pocket. Without Dwight Howard, it's all she wrote. And another reason why this series might be over is because it forces Dwight Howard's absence forces Josh Smith to be a more prominent player. And honestly, that is the last thing you want. I saw in that game Josh Smith semi revert to what he was in Atlanta, where he's just taking all these threes. And I'm just like, no, don't do it. You're struggling. You're struggling, Jake. You're struggling, baby. Don't stop shooting the three. Go in. Get to the rack. And that's the last thing you want if you're the Houston Rockets, where you're forcing Josh Smith to be the guy or the second guy, your number two, if you will. You don't want that. Houston, you do not want that. I've seen a lot of games where this man shot Atlanta out of several games, several playoff games. You just don't want that. Two, Trevor Ariza, he has to step up. You want him to. He had a good series. He had not a good series, but a good game in game one. And I think you have to have him be your number two and still have Josh Smith be your number three. That's the only way I see this series. Well, I still don't see them winning the series or even making it competitive. But if you can have Trevor Ariza step up and get you 20 to 24 points along with James Harden, you might be able to get this extended series to 5, maybe 6, doubtful. But without Dwight Howard, it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle. But not just let me just talk about the Golden State Warriors and giving them credit and how they came back in this game, because they were getting smoked pretty consistently in the first period especially. And I got to give credit to Sean Livingston, who, if you recall, he was because I remember when he was drafted by the Clippers, and he had this horrific knee injury that most thought he would never come back from. But it's taken him several years, but he's coming back and he's a very solid player. So kudos to him. He's I believe he's the main reason why the Golden State Warriors were able to come back in this game, because when everybody else was playing out of sync and kind of sluggish and not really honed in, he was the lone guy who kept this thing afloat for the Warriors. So kudos to him, showing perseverance coming back from the knee injury several years ago. He was the real reason why they were able to come back. Stephen Curry got it going. Um, what's his name? Klay Thompson got it going later in the game. But if you're the Houston Rockets, you have to be kicking yourself, because one thing you can't do is allow a jump shooting team to get on a run where they establish their shooting rhythm. And that's what they did. They went on a 25-6 run to end the second period. You can't let that happen if you're the Houston Rockets. You just can't. You can't. Um, Another thing that the Golden State Warriors were able to do, which is really impressive, is that with most jump shooting teams, when their jumper's not falling, they really kind of fluster. But Golden State is kind of a unique team, because they actually play smart basketball. They get to the rack, and if their jumper's not falling, they get to the rack, they get fouls, and then that's how they start their runs. Another thing that they do that is unique is that they move without the ball. I mean, this is basketball 102 second semester. they're getting open buckets. That's how they're getting runs. And that's why they're extremely hard to defend, because when their jumper's falling, you see Harrison Barnes and Draymond Green getting open backdoor cuts or open backdoor layups or open jumpers, because they do so well moving and passing. This team is great to watch because it brings back fundamental basketball. You shoot, you run, get screens, you're always moving. The spacing is just unique. It's something great to watch, which leads to my last point why I think the Houston Rockets are completely outmatched in this series, is because everybody gets buckets on the Houston Warriors, on the Golden State Warriors. Everybody, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, obviously. Um, what is it? I can't remember his name now. The other Harrison Barnes. His name eluded me for a second. They all can score at will, and I just don't see on the Houston Rockets team, especially after Game One, who can come in and fill that void. I mentioned Trevor Ariza, but you got to have more bench play. You got to have more points from the bench. I just don't see how they can keep up offensively if the Warriors are in sync, which they were in the third and fourth quarter. So I hope Dwight Howard has an not an insignificant, but I hope he recovers quickly, because if he doesn't come back, if he doesn't, it's not a series killer if he doesn't come back for Game 2. But if he's down for Game 2 and 3, series is over. And I feel bad because James Harden had a great year, but he can't do it by himself. He's not LeBron James. He can't take a limited team, and take them to the finals. I'm just sorry. James Harden's a great player, but he just can't do it. Can't do it. So we'll see how they match up tonight against the Warriors. We'll see if Dwight Howard can give it a go. But I'm saying the Houston Rockets are down 0-2. 0-2. Thanks again for watching. Please, as always, leave your comments or suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Eldridge Bell.